Champion, Jordynne Grace!
Jordynne Grace made her first WWE appearance at the Royal Rumble in 2024. It was a real shock to see a Knockouts champion, someone from another company, coming into WWE. Someone that was not a free agent, somebody that was signed to another company. It was the forbidden door of WWE. This wasn't the first time WWE had done this. Mickie James also did this while she was under contract with TNA and Impact, and she showed up at the Royal Rumble, had the appearance, fans popped. She was wearing the Knockouts Championship, which was awesome, and that appearance was exciting. It was fun. It also made sense because from their perspective, I would guess, is that they got Mickie James. They want to do some crossover stuff. Mickie James has been with WWE forever, probably wonderful to work with, and so it was just kind of a slam dunk to bring somebody else in from another company like TNA. High profile spot, a little bit of a shocker, and that's a lot of fun. With Jordynne Grace, though, they went with the similar approach, but it wasn't just a one-off match. We fast forward to Jordynne Grace making her first appearance in NXT, going right after the NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez. This was what the Royal Rumble was shocking. This was shocking as a wrestling fan for me. I've watched WWE since I was a kid, and sure, we did get crossover from time to time where you would see like ECW talent going to WWF. And then the obvious stuff of people jumping ship, literally like contracts ending and you get a Rick Rude being on Raw and then showing up on Nitro. And with Jordynne Grace showing up in NXT, she is challenging Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship, not the Knockouts title, but at Battleground, they're going to be fighting over the NXT title. So my first question to all of you is, do you think Jordynne Grace wins? Do you think that they make her a double champ? She brings the NXT title over to TNA? There's a lot to unpack with all of this. We do have to understand how wild this is. We've seen wrestlers leave one company, show up in the other, the contracts are up and so on, but the Rumble appearance was huge surprise, and this made it even bigger. Jordynne Grace commented on showing up in NXT as well.
I mean, there's a lot riding on it, right? Both companies are putting a lot of responsibility on me. If it doesn't go well, it could, be cataclysmic for the partnership between the two companies. So it's a lot of pressure, but I'm excited and I hope I live up to their expectations.
And then she has her first NXT match just the other day. Bit of a squash, 3 minutes or so, nothing to write home about, but it was just to showcase her in front of the audience. But my question for all of you is, where do you think this is going? What do you think they are going to do, both TNA and WWE, Jordynne Grace specifically? Are they going to put the title on her and have her have a run with this crossover relationship? And also, what's the long-term plan for all of this for both companies? I believe NXT is about to have a massive year, and specifically until like 2025, by them going over to the CW network, and they got a new TV deal, and they're going to be kind of starting fresh over there. From an NXT side of things, I hope that means that the brand gets even bigger. I have not been a fan like aesthetically, and I haven't enjoyed NXT 2.0 when they went from black and gold and then they got into the weird Vince era of running NXT and it got all very bubblegum Nickelodeon look. They have since dialed all that back. And now I find NXT is getting to this point of a healthy hybrid of new talent they want to showcase and bring up a little bit, and more established talent. Shawn Spears returns to WWE and he's in NXT. Ethan Page just showed up coming from AEW. Trick Williams is your centerpiece on the men's side. There's a lot in there, and then you bring in the likes of Jordynne Grace from TNA to give it even more shine from more established talent. And so I think this will do a lot for WWE, for NXT in 2025, because they're going to want to have that healthy mix, maybe freshen up the product overall, do it a little bit better, maybe, and hopefully for me as a fan, maybe they go on the road, they get out of that venue, do some smaller arena shows, but get it on the road a little bit so you can get the product in front of a different audience. Getting out of that venue, I feel, is one of the big things holding it back, honestly, because I think all the talent is there. They got some fun storylines in NXT. It's a good show, but watching it, it's so bright, it's so tiny, it feels like it fits 100 people in there, and it's the same crowd. And I'd love to see if NXT and TNA could do more crossovers with more talent from TNA to spice up the product every couple of months, because I don't believe Jordynne Grace will be there in perpetuity or even every single week from going now and through the next couple of years. Like, they might bring her in for a couple of months at a time. But like, could you imagine Clash at the Castle and you get someone like Joe Hendry?
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Because if you do stuff like that, where it's Jordynne Grace, Moose, Joe Hendry, you start Mustafa Ali and you could bring him back from time to time, you're getting more wrestlers showcased to a larger audience with WWE on a larger platform, larger TV. And so, not a physical TV, the network, you know what I mean?
Dummy. Yeah.
So you got an opportunity to really showcase a lot of talent and get their name out there a lot more, pop the crowd. It's a lot more fun and it's exciting and it creates a little bit of unpredictability too. But one of the challenges I can see as a fan is if you start bringing in TNA talent and then they're gone after a month or two. It's not a huge deal, but I can see it kind of confusing the audience if they watch NXT regularly. And I'm talking more casual fans of wrestling in general, right? They see someone like Jordynne Grace on TV. They might really like her, click with her, and they say, oh, they got this cool new wrestler over here. I want to watch more of her stuff. Maybe on TNA's side, the hope is, well, then maybe that audience and those people will come and check out TNA. I don't know if they'll switch the channel. What do you think? For me, I don't think they would. I think they would be confused, though, if Jordynne Grace is at Battleground and has a couple more matches, and then boom, she disappears for a few months. People wonder where that person is and move on. I don't think they necessarily go over and check out TNA and figure out where to watch her and show up over there. Maybe that's the hope with TNA and WWE for this partnership. But I'm so curious what they will do with TNA having top talent showcased somewhere else. And will it result in TNA being an almost farm system for the NXT show? I mean, I think from the business side, it is such a good move for WWE. They get a funnel of other talent, external talent, not in their own homegrown system. They get a third-party system, and they can feature top acts and wrestlers that are also very established, know what they're doing, know their character, get them exposed a lot more. And potentially, if their contracts come up with TNA, maybe Jordynne Grace signs exclusively with WWE. And she's ready for main roster too. And I like what TNA and NXT or WWE are doing with this relationship because they are not flooding the shows with external talent. NXT is keeping you there every week and you see the exact same roster, you get familiar with the characters, and it's not jarring where you're gonna have 4 or 3 new people that just randomly show up and you have no context for it. This is one of the challenges I always see with AEW, where you see a lot of New Japan talent, for example, coming onto, say, Dynamite. Yes, the hardcore audience, they know these New Japan talents. They know the Ring of Honor talents that are showing up on Dynamite, and they're excited and they have fun watching the matches. But I think when you're trying to grow an audience and expose them, you just have these one-time matches, these one-time shots of this New Japan star or CMLL talent coming in, doing a match on Dynamite, and then they're gone. And there's no context for it, why they're there, all of that stuff. When they do something in NXT like Jordynne Grace showing up, there is a purpose and a path. She's coming in because she wants to fight for the NXT Women's Championship. Perfect. They set it up for a month. You have a fun little story there. Maybe she does exit after that, but it helps expose all of that talent. The other question I have for all of you is long term. Do you think WWE is getting in position to buy TNA? There's always going to be rumblings of this, and frankly, TNA's been around for so long, it never dies, does it? And I've watched TNA over the years. And man, sometimes you just feel like that thing is going to be gone the next day and it just keeps going, doesn't it? But would WWE buy TNA? Would they buy TNA and keep it exactly the same in terms of let it be its own show, WWE oversees it, but they're doing their own thing. It's ultimately under the WWE umbrella, but they're letting them just be TNA and doing exactly what they're doing for the most part. But WWE can then grab the talent that they want to feature, grow, bring over to main roster potentially at any given point. And I'm not saying like then they would necessarily have WWE talent go over to TNA. I don't see that happening. And that's where part of this partnership, I don't really understand. What does TNA get out of it other than we expose our talent to WWE's product and probably get a payout for it? Maybe it's as simple as that. but I don't see WWE talent showing up in TNA. But I do see WWE at some point buying TNA and using it as, like I said, a farm system. So then they have NXT talent, homegrown talent, some free agents that they want to bring in, like an Ethan Page, for example, a Shawn Spears, and then leveraging talent from TNA. Maybe that's what they do. But then it makes NXT so much stronger, I think, once they get into 2025 with the CW and that show really starting to take off and they get a fresh new direction for NXT. So I think Jordynne Grace's presence in NXT and WWE is pretty important. I think you'll look back in a couple of years, honestly, and see this as a pivotal time for TNA and for NXT specifically and how they grow their talent. And what really happens with this relationship has me very, very curious. Let me know what you guys think. And if you want to talk more WWE topics, click this video right here because we got a lot more to talk about with you today. Have a great day. See ya.